Hello, and welcome back to the Everything Cowboys podcast. Dallas Cowboys just came off of a Thanksgiving Day win against the Washington Commanders, absolutely destroying them. They beat them 45 to 10 with 25 points scored in the fourth quarter, which that is their second most points scored, but I will get to that later on today. Cowboys just absolutely destroyed them. It started off no scores early, but the Cowboys came out on their second possession of the day with a touchdown, 15 plays, 110 yards starting from the Dallas 10. I don't see how the 110 yards comes in, but still they went for 90 yards from the Dallas 10 to score a touchdown on a short pass to Rico Dowdle, who ran it in 15 yards for the touchdown. Followed up in the second quarter with a field goal from Washington, touchdown by the Cowboys, 8 plays. 17 plays later, Washington gets on the board again with a touchdown. And then the Cowboys returned that 8 plays later with a touchdown of their own, resulting in following that up with a missed extra point to put them up 20 to 10 going into halftime. Coming out of halftime, Cowboys 6 plays resulted in punting it away, but the Washington Commanders brought it back 9 plays and a turnover on downs. They had a 3rd-and-1, went deep, incomplete pass, and then the run did not get through. Cowboys' run game today was a little on the down side, did not do well, but the Cowboys turned that around and punted, unfortunately losing 1 yard total that time. And then Washington turns around and punts it back to us. That turns into a field goal, 52-yard field goal, which Brandon Aubrey has now scored his 22nd consecutive field goal to start his NFL season. He has 22 straight, and that is also one of the points that I'm making in this beginning. Records beginning today. A lot of records made the charts today. Deron Bland, Brandon Aubrey, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons are the big names, as well as some others in that. The turnover on downs right after that, 5 plays, and a turnover. Cowboys return that with a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb for 15 yards. Once again, 7 plays after that, turnover on downs again for Washington, their 3rd turnover on downs, and that would prove to be their last turnover on downs of the game. Cowboys return that with a Gavante Turpin 34-yard pass for a touchdown that then resulted in a trip to the kettle. The kettle was all spiced up this week with sparkles and everything as Dolly Parton came to sing during the halftime show. 6 plays later, Sam Howell throws it to Deron Bland, and he takes it back, avoiding 3 different tackles to get to the end zone. One of those was Sam Howell. He broke Sam Howell's ankles on that juke play. Love that. Honestly, as soon as I saw 3 players coming in between him and the end zone, I'm like, he's not making it. Unfortunately, he's not going to make history. And then he loses Sam Howell, and I was like, he's got a chance. And then he gets wrapped up. I'm like, he's going down, but he did not. He made it into the end zone, scores, and the defense makes their trip to the kettle. And he has his turn in the kettle. Also, he did say he did swing by the kettle and pick up a turkey leg for his chance on the sidelines that he ate quickly before going back out there to finish the game. Cowboys did not get another chance on the field. Dak Prescott was the quarterback for the entire game as Washington kept it for the remainder of the game, turning it over and then taking it down the field to finish it off. Deron Bland scoring his 5th pick 6 and several things. First off, he has more interceptions than any Cowboy player in their career. He was tied with Dennis Thurman and Dexter Coxley, who had 4 over their entire career. Or maybe that's more than any other player. Okay, no other player has had more pick sixes in their career. DeRon Bland has made history with the most single season record and most pick sixes in his career. He's only in his second career and he already has 5. And all 5 are coming in his second year. So he has set 2 records at one time. 5th pick 6 of the season, also 5th pick 6 of his career, which sets a record. He also has more interceptions returned for a touchdown than any other player in Cowboy history, and I think more than the rest of the team returning for a touchdown combined. The defense combined. Also, Brandon Aubrey, as I said earlier, 22nd straight field goal. And that one came against the Commanders on a 52-yard field goal. He now has 22 straight, and he has the most consecutive field goals to begin a career. And he is continuing to extend his career. He did miss an extra point last week on Sunday, and he then again missed an extra point at the end of the second half. Well, Cowboys' chance with the ball at the second half. So he has 2 missed two missed extra points in 2 games, 3 in his career. But he keeps making history with field goals, so at least he has that going for him. CeeDee Lamb joins elite wide receivers with at least 70 receptions in each of his 4 seasons. He has at least 70 receptions in each of his 4 seasons. This year, he has 78 for 1,066 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, he does still have that record of 10 plus receptions for 150 plus yards over 3 games. That record making was snapped on Sunday, and he was not able to begin reinstating that this week. But he does set this record of joining one of 4 players who is Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Javaris Landry. Those are the 3 other players to have at least 70 receptions in their first 4 seasons. Micah Parsons also joining an elite group. Had got 1.5 sacks on Thursday yesterday, as today is Friday. Friday the 24th, Black Friday. He has 11.5 this year, and he is one of 3 NFL players since 1982, when sacks became an official league stat, of course. Somebody could have had that before, but back to 1982 when sacks became an official league stat, to have at least 11 plus sacks in each of his first 3 seasons in the league. There's the number 3, and he is one of 3. So CD is one of 4 to have 70 receptions in 4 seasons, and Micah Parsons is one of 3 to have 11 plus sacks in 3 seasons. Micah Parsons, only in his 3rd season and already becoming a huge player. Reggie White and Dwight Freeney are the other 2 to reach that mark. Also, with 25 points scored in this 4th quarter on Thursday, it is the 2nd most in team history. Cowboys, the most was scored last year against the Colts when the Cowboys had 33 in the 4th quarter. So right there, 2 years in a row, they have 2 high scoring 4th quarters, and other stats like Jonathan Hankins recording his second 2-sack game of his career. The other was also ironically against Washington back when they were the Redskins back in 2014. Jonathan Hankins then played for the Giants. So against division rivals twice, he has 2 sacks. Don't know who the quarterback was back then. But other ones is the Cowboys' lopsided wins. They have been scoring a ton of points. They have an average of 41 points per game at home in each of their 5 home games. They'll finish out their home season, their home stand these 3 weeks against Seattle and Philadelphia. Then they come back to host Detroit. And those are their final 3 home games of the season. With a 35-plus point win over the Commanders, the Cowboys have become the first team in NFL history to win their first 5 home games of the season by 20 points or more. Cowboys defeated the Jets by 20. They defeated the Patriots by 35. They defeated the Rams by 23 and the Giants by 32 before this 35-point clobbering of the Commanders, 45-10. Easy math. 35-plus points wins ties the win they had against the Patriots, and they have 3 now 30-plus point wins on the season. That is another one. But seriously, first team in NFL history, that's another huge number that the Cowboys are putting up. It is a huge game for the Cowboys as they set several different records on defense, on offense, overall, just point-wise. Also, another one is coupled with last year's Thanksgiving win over the Giants. It marks the first time the Cowboys have won consecutive turkey games at AT&T Stadium, which opened in 2009. They did win multiple 2 consecutive turkey games in Texas Stadium. Also, they have won 13 straight games at AT&T Stadium, the longest current home streak in the NFL, but the second longest in team history, which is behind the Cowboys' 18 straight at Texas Stadium way, way back in 1979 through 1981 when they won 18 straight. The Cowboys have won 13 straight so far and look to continue that on Thursday night against the Seattle Seahawks. They also will have to play the Eagles at home. So they have a few, all of their games up until the Washington game are against teams that are 500 plus. All of their wins have come against teams that do not have a winning record. Giants twice. They lost the Cardinals, which was an under 500 team, but they've beat the Patriots. They've beat the Rams. They've beat the Jets. I mean, they have been clobbering every single team at home, and they've been winning on the road as well against the Panthers. I mean, the Cowboys are right now sitting 8-3, trailing the Eagles for the division and conference as well. They are tied with the Lions behind them. Win record wise, that doesn't put them at second or third. They do hold a wild card spot, unfortunately. That is a disappointment for them. But back to this. Cavante Turpin has his turn in the kettle after a 34-yard pass. They went back. They pretty much dragged him over to the kettle. After the game, Dak Prescott was saying, I was like, I looked over at the coaches and I was like, is it time? But then he's like, nope, we've got one more chance at this. And he did have one more chance. It happened to be his last time on the field. He threw a 34-yard dime to Cavante Turpin, giving Cavante his third or fourth touchdown of this season. So that is huge for Cavante alone. Yeah, that he is an absolute speedster. He does have speed. Yeah, he has 4 touchdowns for the Cowboys offensively through 11 games. After receiving only 2 targets last season, he is absolutely coming out this season with his 4th touchdown to put them up 38-10. So Cavante Turpin obviously getting in the kettle. He bent over to give Dak Prescott the turkey leg that was sitting in the kettle. They've been planning this for 2 or 3 days before Dak Prescott went to went to Mike McCarthy. He went to Jerry Jones and got permission from both of them. And he's like, even if we get a flag and are penalized 15 yards for this, Mike McCarthy was totally fine with it. So they did have that going for them. They had plans. They put one turkey leg in each of the 4 kettles around the stadium just in case they went into either one. It was planned for 2 or 3 days. Owner and coach both gave their permission, and they were waiting for that time. Could have happened after the touchdown to Lamb. It could have also happened after the 2-point conversion to Lamb as well. But they waited and went to Cavante Turpin on a 34-yard touchdown pass. So he has his turn in the kettle. And of course, the Cowboys did get fined again by the No Fun League. Their offense absolutely went to town. Dak had an amazing game with over 300 passing yards. That one as well, putting that one into the books. Dak Prescott 331 yards on 22 completions over 32 attempts and 4 touchdowns. Absolutely screaming. He has the numbers, and if the Cowboys continue to do this with their with this offense, they could be a serious Super Bowl contender. The wide receivers continue to make big plays. Brandon Cooks, 4 receptions for 72 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 4 receptions for 53 yards. They spread this out. Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson, Cavante Turpin with his only catch, which ended up in a touchdown. Jalen Brooks, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, Michael Gallup, and Luke Schoonmaker all received at least once. Tony Pollard had the most receptions but he had only 24 yards. Brandon Cooks, again, 72 yards. He is leading the team with yards these past few games, and he has been a big piece. He was very slow to start the season. Totally agreed. He is very slow to start the season, was not looking like the Cowboys were wanting him to, and then bursts out against the Giants, and then continues that against the Panthers last on Sunday. And then a short week, he continues to perform. Cowboys did come in well rested. They had very light practice and they were well Mike McCarthy made sure to give them enough rest coming into the day. The run game also got going. Tony Pollard with 13 carries for 79 yards and another touchdown. Rico Dowdle had 3 rushes for 11 yards. He also did have a reception early in the game. His only reception, ironically enough, for a touchdown, 15 yards to open the scoring. Rico Dowdle getting on the board early. Dak Prescott did have 1 scramble for 10 yards. Did not use his legs much, but he let Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle carry that one. They also had a big defensive attack this week. The defense, the pass rush, got to the Commanders. Oh my gosh. Deron Bland also with his interception. Going down, Osa had 3 tackles, no sacks. Jonathan Hankins did have 2. And then Micah Parsons had 1.5. Dante Fowler helped him with that half sack, and they just put the pass rush and they put Sam Howell under pressure. Sam Howell was under pressure for pretty much the entire game. He did, ironically enough, I have to say, pass for 300 yards on 28 completions of 44 attempts. Surprisingly, they tried to throw 44 times. Their run game was on point. Brian Robinson, 15 carries for 53 yards. Antonio Gibson, 6 for 21. Chris Rodriguez, 4 for 21. And Sam Howell had 2 for 13 and a touchdown. He did run in one of those touchdowns. But still, overall, the team had Dallas Cowboys had 431 yards Washington had 376. Passing yards was a little different, 331 to 268. The numbers there are wrong. Rushing yards, Washington did lead in rushing, but the Cowboys had more average yards per play, and obviously more points, 45 to 10. No fumbles were no fumbles happened. One interception was thrown by Washington. Dallas wins that. They also allowed 4 sacks. 4 sacks. Washington did allow 4 sacks. Their third down efficiency was huge. Cowboys with 60% third down, Washington with 46. They also tried going for on fourth down several times. That's another big piece of the Cowboys defense. They stopped the Washington Commanders on fourth down 3 times in the second half of the game. 3 times. And those 3 that could have turned into scores, if they had turned into touchdowns, that's 21 points. That puts the game at 31 to 45, a much different look at the game. And possibly the Cowboys may not have been actually. Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys still probably could have scored that pick six, but even if they had, the game would have been a heck of a lot closer, and it would not have been over. They would not be running the ball late in the game to just eat up that half. They had 8 plays and burned 4 minutes and 39 minutes of the clock to close out the game. Pass rush was on point. The defenders were on point. They allowed 300 yards, but still, they were on point. Stephon Gilmore, one player I've been not so happy with. I haven't seen him much on TV, and I haven't heard much from him. After all that hype of the Cowboys getting another player to back up Trayvon Diggs, Trayvon Diggs goes down. Stephon Gilmore is talked about for a little bit, but no, Deron Bland takes his place and is the only defensive back that the Cowboys have been talking about. Stephon Gilmore, I want to say, has been a huge player. He has not been targeted because he is so tight on the player he defends. We have 2 good defensive backs, and when Trayvon Diggs comes back next season, we'll have a third. We will have 3 amazing defensive backs as long as we don't let one of them go. Which, provided our cap is running out, we will have to probably get rid of some players here and there. We have too many high-level players to keep them all, and it's a surprise we haven't won a Super Bowl yet with this team. Our postseason is horrendous. We just cannot win in the postseason. We did have a poor run defense. We allowed more rushing yards than our team gave. So that was one I was just not happy with the Cowboys' run defense. They just kept allowing the run to get through, but their fourth down picked up the slack, stopping them on third down, allowing them to get to fourth down, and allowing the pass rush to get to Sam Howell. Cowboys play aggressive when they're on defense, and I am happy with that. And that's the reason the Cowboys have one of the best defenses. I would say the Cowboys have the best defense in the league. Browns are the only one who possibly challenge them. I haven't seen the Browns play. I would like to see them play, but not possible. Also, when I did start recording this, there was 8 minutes left in the Jets game. I do want to go point out scores from around the league up until now. The first Black Friday game was the Miami Dolphins versus the Jets. For those of you who watched it, congrats. I had work this morning, so I slept for part of that. But those scores are going to be huge. Miami. There is still 35 seconds left in the game. They're up 34-13. There was a pick six by both teams. Ironically enough, both teams threw pick sixes. There's 34 seconds. Dolphins have the ball. They're just going to nail it one more time and burn that clock. So it is game over. Other games that happened before the Cowboys played, Packers, Lions. Lions did not have a great showing. They fumbled it twice in the first half. I was watching that game while at work. Came home at 1 o'clock and got ready to eat my Thanksgiving meal with family and friends and then watch the Cowboys game. I was off and on watching the Cowboys game. but I did spend time with the friends that we had playing outside. Did watch. I would say I watched most of the win for the Cowboys. I did not watch. I did watch a little bit of the Packers Lions game while I was at work, but once I left, I was just like, I knew the Lions had lost. Packers were just going all out. They won 29-22. 49ers beat the Seahawks 31-13 and moved to 8-3 on the season as well. Very disappointed in that. I wanted the Seahawks to win. But it's a good thing they lost because now they're coming into Dallas off of a loss against the 49ers who did beat the Cowboys. So we'll see. Seahawks are 6-5, so they still are over that 500 mark. We'll see what they continue to do. Big games, Ravens and Chargers on Sunday night. That one's going to be one to watch. Bills and Eagles, Sunday afternoon, 3:25 kickoff. That one, big game to watch on CBS. Chiefs Raiders also one that's going to be watched. I don't know which one they're going to have. Honestly, record wise, they probably put the Bills Eagles game up, but they might go and they might put the Chiefs Raiders game on. That could happen as well. Broncos are a team that are doing well. They're playing the Browns actually, so that one would be one to watch as well on Fox. No other really like big games that are happening. Steelers Bengals. Steelers are actually doing pretty well, I'd say. But other than that, no big games coming up on Sunday. So I hope you guys all have a good week, and I'll be watching the Cowboys play the Seahawks next Thursday and see if the Cowboys can pull off another home win and make that 14 straight home wins this season, also at AT&T Stadium. So I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the weekend. And I will be back after Thursday night game against the Seattle Seahawks.
52 yards. It's Aubrey. He has not missed a field goal attempt to start his career.